I am Philip Myers, an instructor at National SAR School. Through a series of short videos, we are going to go through how to properly gather information and fill out a Flare Checksheet. Using a Flare Checksheet will assist us in interviewing the reporting source, will help us determine the bearing or direction from the reporting source to the flare they saw, and help us establish a reasonable search area. Let's say we have a couple walking along the beach, when all of a sudden they observe a flare. Continuing down the Flare Checksheet introduced in the previous video, Flare Information, we come to the bearing section at the bottom of the first page. We are going to explain the clock method to determine the bearing direction from the observer to the flare they are reporting. In our example, the couple on the beach could have 180 degrees of arc in front of them. If they were on a point of land or a pier, they could have 330 degrees of arc. We need to narrow down the direction from them to the source of the flare. Talk to the person. Explain that you are going to ask them to do a couple of tasks that will seem odd, but will help us determine the best place to search. Direct the person to squarely face the water, or better still, a known charted object like a lighthouse, a buoy, or an island they can see. Imagine they are standing on the face of an analog clock. The direction they are facing will be their 12 o'clock. Now that we have the person lined up in a known direction, have them estimate what time on the clock they are standing on did they observe the flare. Possibly do the clock method twice, once squared off to the water, and once again facing the charted object. We are attempting to reduce the amount of error to the bearing provided that will be used in the SAR-Ops program. What did we just determine? With the position of the reporting source and the direction they are facing known, we have a reference line of bearing to work with. The time on the clock will provide the OU, SAR planner, the bearing the flare was observed from the reported source. Each hour on the clock translates into 30 degrees of arc. Now comes the tricky part for the OU. This will be a relative bearing. The OU must look at the position and the reference line of bearing, and then convert that into a true heading. Going back to our example, the couple on the beach did the clock method while facing the lighthouse as their 12 o'clock. They reported the flare to be at their 1:30 direction. The OU will plot the report and add 45 degrees to the 12 o'clock line of bearing to determine a true heading. The bearing error reflects the OU's confidence in the direction the flare was observed. Within the SAR-Ops program, the true heading will be plotted, plus or minus a degree of error to that direction. If available, use technology. Reporting sources on vessels may be able to provide a compass heading. Some people may have a compass app on their cell phones. When recording those compass directions on the check sheet, be certain to note if it is a boat compass or a cell phone, and if the direction is in magnetic or true. Thank you for watching. The final video in this series will be on determining a flare's angle of elevation.